Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, once said, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." But instead, he gave them cars. He created the first Ford Model T. And in doing so, he also created something else. He created an almost perfect assembly line, which would revolutionize the car industry and the concept of manufacturing on a worldwide basis. What might your reaction have been? Astonishing, unbelievable, science fiction. Science fiction. What a wonderful word, but what does it involve? Let me elaborate on the example that I have just given. Henry Ford didn't just upgrade the existing science, he created a new one. He took the situation of car production, to a whole new level of science. Now, this concept of science fiction can be linked to many important inventions of the past. Around the 11th century in China, during the Song dynasty, what could soldiers have wanted at that time? A better sword? Perhaps stronger armor? Or maybe a poison-tipped dagger? But what did they actually get? Gunpowder. And that was science fiction. But it doesn't always have to do with material objects. It can also be an important event in history. In Athens, for example, early 5th century BC, Cleisthenes changes the structure of the state from an aristocracy to a democracy. All of a sudden, everyone could participate in ruling the polis, the city-state. It was such a big twist, some people couldn't even live with it. Plato, for example, couldn't stand the fact that he and his baker had an equal amount of influence in politics. For him, it was a true Copernican revolution. For him, it was science fiction. Now, science fiction can also be linked to the present. A solution for global warming, for example. What would most of us here suggest? Reduce the pollution of carbon dioxide? Prevent the further melting of the ice sheets? Or put a halt to deforestation? Yet, what if there was an entirely different solution? What if scientists were somehow able to create a new chemical substance which would be able to decompose a part of the carbon dioxide in the air? Wouldn't that be science fiction? And what would the next landmark decision or event be? Instead of trying to find another Earth-like planet, creating a new one. Instead of trying to fully understand human psychology from the outside, learning human behavior from the inside by means of shared consciousness. Everything is possible. Teleportation, sending power wirelessly, the creation and transmutation of elements, everything is possible. But instead of trying to alter the existing science, we have to create a new one. With the words of Star Trek, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Or, in other words, to boldly invent what no man has invented before. But now, let's do a small test. I give you a short list of inventions, and it's up to you to guess which ones are still an idea and which ones have become reality. Okay? Here we go. Flying cars, bionic implants, an exoskeleton, holographic displays, a jetpack, the hover bike, a cloaking device, and insect-sized spying devices. Which ones are still fiction? Which ones have become reality? The answer is really quite simple. Every single one of them has already been made. Our science has come so far that most of us don't even realize the progress we have made. With this thought in mind, can we even begin to comprehend what the possibilities of science might be? Everything is possible, and everything is within our grasp, if we are willing to take it to a whole new level. Thank you.
Yes. What is the difference between science fiction and fantasy?
Well, fantasy is about things that are really um, impossible to happen, like a different time span, a different, an alternate dimension, or for example, dragons, which are just fantasies of our mind. We can't just create them all of a sudden. Science fiction is an idea which can be made possible with science.
Um, can science solve all our problems?
Well, not all problems. For example, world poverty. We can't just solve that problem. For a couple of thousand years, this problem has existed. And we try to solve it, but we never have really found a problem for everyone to have a decent income and a decent life. So no, science fiction can't solve everything, but it can solve some problems of our life.
I can imagine that the 4T and that its production line was astonishing. But is there something that could still be invented today that would also be astonishing?
Yeah, of course. Um, for example, I was really amazed by this new invention called the epidermal electronic system, which are little circuits integrated into your skin, which can communicate with local data centers and can monitor your heart rate, your blood pressure, and so on. And I was really amazed. This little chip on your forearm, which can monitor all of these things. I was astonished by this invention. So yes, science fiction can still be amazing.
When trying to solve problems like climate change by developing science fiction, um, what if what if that science fiction could not become reality? What if we were wrong? Are we then not using money, people, time, chasing a pipe dream?
Well, to me, science fiction is always in two stages. First, we have the idea, the theoretical part, and we keep looking at different theories, different ideas. Is this possible to make happen, or is that more likely to solve the problem? And then you take the um, most probable solution, and then you try it out in real life. It can, um, it can happen that science fiction, that the new invention won't work out. But then we have to go back to the first part, find something new, get a new idea, think outside of the box, and try to find a different solution. So yes, it can happen that a new invention cannot solve the problem and can be realized, but we have to keep trying.
Besides perhaps a solution for climate change, is there anything else that we need to find a solution for?
We have to put well, um, our planet. In 2050, we will be with around 10 to 12 billion people. Our planet cannot sustain that amount of people. So I talked about finding another planet, terraforming, and it's actually a real thing. NASA already had a convention about this idea, and they had the idea of colonizing another planet in our solar system because our planet um, doesn't have enough natural resources for another long span of time. So we have to find different other places to sustain our needs and to sustain the needs of mankind. So that is the next big problem of today. Thank you.
Dank u, Mr. Baete.